Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining me again today on our next destination dive to the Galapagos Islands. Now, if you're like me, the only time I remember hearing about the Galapagos Islands when I was young was in science class, and it usually revolved around Darwin and the notation of the new species. But no one I ever knew had visited the Galapagos Islands. So jump ahead a few years, and I opened my travel agency, and I start to hear all of these new trips coming around about people wanting to go to the Galapagos, and it kind of piqued my interest a little bit. And so I thought it would be the perfect destination to dive into this week. So I would love to introduce you my new co-host and friend, Rachel Woodward, who is the Senior Director of Expedition Sales at Silversea Cruises. Now, I've invited her to share about her experiences, tell us a little bit about the ship that is located year-round in the Galapagos Islands, and to share about her experiences, because I think the best way to learn about a destination is from someone who's actually been there. And since I haven't, but I plan on going, I would love to invite Rachel into the webinar and to hear all about her experiences. Welcome, Rachel.
Hello, Melissa. Thanks for having me for our second expedition webinar. Yeah. I am really excited. I have to say, one of my favorite destinations to visit is the Galapagos. It was actually my first ever expedition voyage, and it is a unique place to visit. So I'll give a little overview today of what is the Galapagos, talk about a new ship that we have launching this year, and then go through a quick day in the life, what you can expect being on the Galapagos ship and the different islands that you're going to see. So the Galapagos, they straddle the equator. They're about 620 miles west of South America. So it is a volcanic archipelago. And what makes the Galapagos so unique, they're famed for their unique species. You'll be within a couple of feet of finches, blue-footed boobies, red-footed boobies. You'll be snorkeling around sea lions and sea turtles and penguins. So the wildlife has no fear of humans, and that really it really makes it special and unique that you can be within a couple feet of the wildlife. So I do want to talk briefly about a brand new vessel we have launching this summer. Really excited about this, as it's our first ever purpose-built expedition. Yeah. So the Silver Origin, it is launching mid-July of this summer, and it is one of the most environmentally friendly cruise ships ever built, thanks to some of the state-of-the-art technology. So just giving you an example with this vessel, it has a dynamic positioning system that will allow the ship to maintain position without having to use any anchors. So therefore, we're able to protect the seafloor. So that is quite unique. When you talk about maybe just the ship itself, it boosts some of the highest crew to guest ratio. We have 100 guests and 87 crew on board, almost a 1-to-1 crew to guest ratio, all veranda suites. Some of the largest, well, actually we do have the largest suites in the Galapagos. They start at about 350 square feet. They go up to about 1,700 square feet. But I'll click through here, just some of the public areas. See, there's a lot of Galapagos artifacts throughout the vessel. We have this really great interactive digital, we call this area base camp. So the expedition team can meet with the guests and they can talk about maybe some of the wildlife that they'll see that day. So they'll click through some videos and they can review that with guests, which is really unique. And we also have a lot of outside space. So the other unique thing with the Galapagos, you're going to have these gorgeous evenings where you're sailing to another island, because each day you visit 2 islands a day. You can just have a cocktail, sit out. You'll see this fire area they have on board, have a cocktail and just explore and enjoy the sunset in the evening. And then the restaurants that we have a main restaurant and then we have an outside grill. So that is very nice. We also have room service that is available throughout the day. But looking at one of our veranda suites, Gorgeous, floor to ceiling
That's
windows.
beautiful.
Yes, it's just really stunning. So plenty of opportunities throughout the day to sit out on your balcony and enjoy the scenery.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do want to shift from the new ship and talk about the product itself, because probably one of the most popular questions I get, how do you get to the Galapagos? We make it quite easy. So for your clients that are flying from the US, they will need to get to Quito, and then post-cruise, they'll disembark from San Cristobal and they'll fly to Guayaquil. We include this package as well as the flight. So we include free economy air from the US to Quito, and then we include a 2-night hotel stay in Quito at the JW Marriott. So guests will arrive Thursday afternoon, and they'll embark the Silver Origin that Saturday. So Saturday morning, they'll
take easy for everyone. Because
exactly.
they don't have to pre-plan how they're going to get in and out. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so we include that, and they'll embark on Saturday. It's a 7-day voyage, and then the following Saturday, they'll disembark in the morning, and then we include a flight from, it's either Baltra or San Cristobal, depending on which voyage you're on, and that flight, it ends in Guayaquil. We include a day room in Guayaquil, and the reason for that, the flights are all in the evening, so they're all red-eye flights. So we include a day room at a really nice hotel there in Guayaquil, and then in the evening, your clients will be on a flight back to the US. So 7-day voyage. When you think of the package, it's about a 9-day trip.
Okay.
But everything is included with this, so we make it really easy too. Everything on board. Right. So from gratuities and alcohol, all the cuisine. You do have a butler, I like to say, that's like a private concierge. Yeah. But one thing with expedition cruising, because usually when you think of classic cruising, shore excursions, you have to sign up for excursions, there's an additional cost, but not with expedition cruising. We include all the excursions, and they're planned out ahead of time by our expedition team.
Okay. That's a huge plus. It really is.
It is, because you don't want to think about the, what you need to sign up for. Are you missing out on a particular activity that day? But our expedition team, transitioning to this next slide, they're experts in their field, and they're all from Ecuador. A lot of times, their family members, their grandparents, their parents were Galapagos guides. So they really are experts with the islands. Anywhere from ornithologist, marine biologist, naturalist. You also have a photographer and videographer on board. And what makes it unique, we have a large expedition team. So if you think about it, for 100 guests, we have 9 guides. And what that means, smaller groups ashore. And that is a big key takeaway. A lot of times you might have questions, well, should I go on a vessel that has 16 passengers in the Galapagos or 48? I like the size of Silversea because we combine the comforts of our vessel itself, but we're the only vessel that day visiting the island because they only allow, with the Galapagos National Park, 100 guests ashore. So with the 100 guests, we'll break it up into small groups, usually 1 guide for every 8 to 10 guests, and two landings a day. So I always recommend look at a vessel that has some more guides, because if you're on a smaller vessel, 16 passengers, you just have 1 guide on board and you're with that guide each day. It's nice to be with different guides that have different backgrounds.
Right.
Great.
Do they each have specialties? Do the guides each have their own specialties? So you can,
Yeah, so you'll be with a guide maybe one day that's a marine biologist. Another day you'll be with a bird expert, which is great because it really pertains to the areas that you're visiting in each landing that day.
Okay. All right.
Well, I put together some of my top reasons to visit the Galapagos. One thing I will point out, it's a destination that you can visit year-round. So there isn't a bad time to visit the Galapagos. It just depends maybe what's the best time for your clients to travel. So whether or not they're going in January, April, or the fall time, it's a great time to see the wildlife. But here are some of the top reasons. The animals, they are fearless of humans. So in this photo here, you'll be walking the beach and you'll be within probably 5 feet of sea lions. Even snorkeling with sea lions, you'll be that close. And if you're a birder, I really recommend the Galapagos. You will see blue-footed boobies on both itineraries, but if you're on the North Central, you'll see over 35 different bird species. So you'll see the finches, which started Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. And then the marine life that you'll see, you'll be able to snorkel with sea turtles. We take guests up in the highlands to see giant tortoises. So a lot of marine life visiting the Galapagos Islands. The landscape and the beaches are just stunning. Every day we'll offer snorkeling, usually for about an hour a day, as well as hiking, walking ashore, Zodiac cruising, and kayaking. So a lot of activities throughout the day. The human footprint is barely visible. When we talk about this, only about 300,000 visitors a year visit the Galapagos. So, you know, with only having 100 guests ashore, you can really tell. That's why the animals have a lack of fear with humans. The other thing is Ecuadorian cuisine. If you love seafood, I recommend a Galapagos voyage, fresh ceviche every day, fresh lobster. All the wines are from South America, so the cuisine on board is really, really good. And then lastly, and I'll touch upon this in a little bit, but family trips, it's a great destination for families. All right, so I do want to mention the itineraries that we have. We offer either a Western itinerary or a North Central itinerary. So there are subtle differences, but I always say pick an itinerary that works best for your travel schedule, because both of them, you'll be able to see blue-footed boobies and go to the highlands to see the giant tortoises. And there isn't a bad time to visit the Galapagos because you're so close to the equator. So usually it's about 80 to 85 degrees year-round. And the snorkeling is great throughout the year as well. All right, so the Western itinerary, it starts San Cristobal and it ends in Baltra, 7-day voyage. Highlight here has to do more on the snorkeling aspect and the marine life. So with that, clients will have the opportunity to snorkel with sea turtles, with penguins, and then with the marine life, more reptiles. So with the giant tortoises, as well as lava lizards and several species of iguanas. More Zodiac cruising on the Western itinerary than maybe the North Central itinerary offers a little bit more hiking. North Central itinerary, this is the itinerary I did a couple years ago. If you are an avid birder, I recommend the North Central itinerary. Why? You'll see over 35 different bird species. So both itineraries, you'll see the blue-footed boobies, but with the North Central, you'll also see the red-footed booby, the Nazca booby. It's just stunning. Each day walking ashore, you'll see hundreds of birds. More hiking on this itinerary. You'll hike across lava flows, and what I would like to do is show a quick video on the Galapagos Islands. One of our expedition leaders is just talking through the wildlife that you'll get to see. So let me just put this up and I'll hit play. Just give me a second. See if this video, there it goes.
Galapagos is unique because this is one of the few places on Earth where you're actually accepted as part of the environment. These species are not running away or flying away. In certain cases, they're coming up to you. And that makes this place truly unique. Something that surprises many people is the diversity of Galapagos. Not only the terrain, which is distinct from one island to the next, but also the diversity of life. We have a unique diversity. In areas where you have reptiles such as sea turtles swimming next to penguins, there's nowhere else on Earth that you have that combination. Being a naturalist on the Silver Galapagos is not only fascinating for me because of this environment that we're traveling through, but also meeting our guests that are coming in here and seeing Galapagos through their eyes and the excitement of being able to interact with the species here. It's very personal. There's no other place like Galapagos on Earth.
All right, Thank you for watching that video. We're going to go back to the presentation where we left off. I love that video though.
Yes.
Our team, really has a passion for what you'll see. So what I thought would be helpful is just giving an overview of a typical day in the life and what you can expect to do for activities, the pace of the trip. Usually the ship is anchored quite early in the morning, and the excursions start anywhere from, I would say, around 8 to 9 in the morning. The reason that we have the excursion earlier for a trip like this, because clients do like to say, it's a vacation, why are we going ashore so early? As you're so close to the equator, the hottest time is midday. So we try to have the first excursion early, guests back on board midday, and then late in the afternoon, the second excursion. So you go ashore, let's say this is around 8:30 in the morning, you're with an expedition guide, small groups, 8 to 10 guests, you get off the Zodiac, and it's either a dry landing or a wet landing. So they'll always review that with you the evening prior. A dry landing, you'll step on, maybe it's a concrete jetty. A wet landing, you might swing your legs and you might be in about ankle deep of water. So we do have a packing list, and I'll review that in a moment. But when you're ashore, it will either be a longer walk or a shorter walk. And there isn't a sign-up sheet for that. You don't have to plan for any of the excursions, but they might mention a longer walk. If you're interested in this, that might start at 9 in the morning. That might be in an hour and a half short hike walk to a bird colony like this to see blue-footed boobies. Or we might offer a short beachcombing walk 30 minutes later. And you'll be with one of our marine biologists or ornithologists, bird experts to see blue-footed boobies as well. You'll see red-footed boobies on the north central itinerary. They're just stunning. I mean, you will take some amazing photos even on your iPhone, how close you get to them. And then the flightless cormorants with their wingspans, you'll see the flightless cormorants on the north central itinerary. So as we're talking about the scenery of the Galapagos Islands, it's just stunning. You'll go on these hikes where you'll have these beautiful views. You can see here on the bottom right-hand side, Pinnacle Rock. That's a famous area to take a photo in Santiago Island on the western itinerary. You can see the Pinnacle Rock in the background here. But you don't have to get off the Zodiac to just observe the wildlife and scenery. So we'll offer a hike during the day. There might be another Zodiac cruise throughout the day, but you'll get to explore a lot of the wildlife just from the Zodiac. So this was a photo from my trip here. I'm on the right-hand side sitting next to one of our expedition guides who is a marine biologist, and you can see her with her large camera lens. I just had my iPhone with me taking some photos, but we do include a video and some of the top photos at the end of the voyage. So that is complimentary and included. Every day though, you will get to go ashore. It could be a short walk or you could be snorkeling here, but there's plenty of wildlife to observe. I like to say I'm like a fish in the water. I love snorkeling, and the Galapagos offers some of the best snorkeling. I mean, you don't even have to go a mile out. You can just be within 5 to 10 feet from the beach, and you will have sea lions come up to your mask. I mean, that's
hard to imagine.
I know. I mean, here I laugh at this photo of me, but you'll see 3 sea lions on the beach, a couple of birds in the background. Me wearing my wetsuit, and the water temperature is a little cooler, so we do include wetsuits, but I do recommend to always pack a dry fit shirt, just because how close you are to the equator, it's really important to just cover up. Snorkeling though, if you are a little bit more advanced snorkeler, we do offer snorkeling on the Zodiacs a little farther out. You will be able to snorkel with penguins on the western itinerary. So 95% of the Galapagos penguins reside on the western itinerary. I mean, where else do you think you're going to see penguins like this? I mean, we talked earlier a couple weeks ago about Antarctica seeing penguins, but you can also see penguins in the Galapagos.
Yeah, but you're not swimming with them in Antarctica.
Exactly. No, you're definitely not swimming with penguins in Antarctica. And then sea lions as well. You know, the one unique thing with a trip like this, every client is going to have a different story to share. For me, I was snorkeling next to one of our expedition guides, and he looked down, and I'm thinking, what is he looking at? There was a 10-foot manta ray underneath us, and I was able to snorkel above the manta ray for about 10 minutes. So you are going to have some really amazing opportunities snorkeling. You'll also see the Eastern Pacific green sea turtle, and this will be on the Western itinerary. So Western itinerary offers a little bit more on the snorkeling side with the reptiles, so with the penguins, with the sea turtles. But another complementary activity we have is kayaking. So we do have 8 double kayaks on board, and they will offer kayaking every day.
Okay.
And then walking ashore, Fernandina Island, this is on the north central itinerary. When I was mentioning hiking across like lava flows here, you can just see beautiful scenery. This is probably right before dinner around 5 p.m. They're walking ashore, seeing some of the lava lizards. I love this photo, how they're all like sunbathing on top of each other. And then you'll also see the Sally light-footed red crab. This photo here is just so vibrant with the colors of the oranges and the reds. Another activity I like, I was mentioning just with Zodiac cruising, but being with a guide, you don't even have to go ashore. You're going through these areas of the mangroves, and if you look in this photo here, right in front of the Zodiac, there's a penguin. So you'll see yes, you'll see manta rays, you'll also see penguins, and then plenty of birds nesting in the mangroves. So yeah, a lot of Zodiac cruising with the Galapagos, and even just walking through here with the mangroves, you can see guests, and it's like you're dressed for an African safari. You can see how guests are all covered up. We do include a backpack and a water bottle, so you'll see some guests there with an expedition backpack on board. One of the highlights though, both itineraries you will see blue-footed boobies, and we do take you up in the highlands to see the giant tortoises. So you will visit a breeding center where they are protecting the baby tortoises that are around 6 months, a year to 3 years old. And it's really unique. You'll see different dome-shaped tortoises. And I love this photo here. I mean, look how many tortoises you see. Some of them live up to 100 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, it is quite remarkable. I do want to mention a birding island that was a highlight on my trip, Genovesa Island. So you'll see how guests get off the Zodiac here, an expedition guide assists them, and then you'll walk up this area. They call it Prince Philip Steps. There's about 20 steps you'll walk up. Once you get to the top of Prince Philip Steps, Genovesa Island is known as a birders island, and with that, you will see Nazca boobies photographed here. Not just a couple Nazca boobies, hundreds of birds to see. Another bird, one of my favorites are these, let's see, this is red-footed booby, blue-footed booby, and the, drawing a blank on this bird that you're gonna see. I know that happened to me once, but with its inflated chest, what's unique here, this is during mating season, and they have a certain calling with the females, but I love it because it has this pouch here. But these photos, a lot of them are just taken on your iPhone, how close that you get to. Wow. So yeah, this is the island here, Genovesa Island, where you can see hundreds of birds flying around. Yeah, just absolutely beautiful.
I would imagine for people that have adopted ornithology and just bird watching in general, that this would be like heaven. I can imagine that.
And it was, for some reason, on the tip of my tongue. This is the frigate bird. So it's beautiful. I love this bird. But you would only see this on the North Central itinerary. So if you're an avid bird, I recommend the North Central itinerary. So Melissa, I know you had a question about family travel.
I do. So for let's say for multi-generational, like grandparents, parents, children, do you think that the Galapagos Islands offers something for everyone? I can imagine that it would, but can you tell me just a little bit about your experience with families?
Perfect. Great question. It does. And I think a lot has to do with the wildlife aspect for families. Children just have to be 5 years or older. And that really has to do with being in and out of a Zodiac. But we see a lot of multi-gen families over the summertime, holidays, and spring break.
Oh,
So usually
okay.
grandparents bring their children and then the grandkids. We do have the other unique thing on board. A couple of the suites do accommodate triples, and we do have some connecting rooms. So that makes it really nice for families. But let's say you have a family of like 8 or 10, you'll have your own Zodiac for the day.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah, and the expedition guides with families too and children, they'll have scavenger hunts for the kids. So maybe you're visiting Genovese Island and they ask the kids to have a checklist of different bird species they'll see. This photo here, walking ashore, seeing sea lions. Walking along this boardwalk here, you can see all different age groups, but it is a family-friendly destination. Children love it, especially with the water activities and snorkeling here. So this is a kid snorkeling near a sea lion. So it is a great destination for families, as well as Zodiac cruising. So, you know, you could have a nice Zodiac cruise with all different age groups in the Zodiac.
That's pretty cool.
Great question. I love that. I will mention lastly, a packing list. For expedition travel, it is quite specific with what you need to pack for different destinations, but think of the Galapagos like what you would pack for an African safari. We do have a packing list. Melissa can assist you with any questions you have about the gear. I always recommend though, pack a pair of water sandals, whether or not it's Tevas or Keens, and then a pair of walking shoes. Because every landing will either be a wet landing or a dry landing. Make sure to pack a big brim hat, and some hats you can buy that will protect your neck, because it's really important to have a lot of covering just with how close you are to the equator. So with that, I want to turn this back over to you, Melissa, and see if there's any other questions that we have.
Well, thanks. Okay, so I do have some questions. First, well, we talked about the family travel, and I think this would be a fantastic place for people to take their families. And I can especially see how it would fit in now with so many people that are having to homeschool kids and thinking, well, how do I incorporate some of their studies with the science aspect of, you know, learning about different animal species. And I can see where the Galapagos would definitely check that box. So we talked about that. But one thing I would like to kind of hop back on is the active aspect. Like, how active do people need to be in order to enjoy this? Do they have to be super athletes, or could they?
Yeah, great question. I like to just use a comparison. If you can climb a flight of stairs, play a round of golf, you can go on a Galapagos voyage. It isn't about the age. It's more about how fit you are. We've had guests that have knee and hip problems, and the expedition team will assist them with getting in and out of a Zodiac. That pretty much seems to be the biggest question. How difficult is it to get in and out of a Zodiac? But a lot of times we'll offer an activity. A lot of them are just beachcombing walks, short walks. There might be a couple days where it's a longer hike, but anytime we offer a longer hike, there'll always be at the same time a shorter walk. So
okay, they have a choice then.
Yeah, it's a great destination for everyone. And you know, you don't even have to get off the Zodiac to enjoy the scenery. So if you just want to be on the Zodiac, there will be an expedition guide that can just take you around the island and you can take photographs.
So next thing I want to go back and just reemphasize. So, and this is something I didn't know until you just talked about it. So the Galapagos is a year-round destination. So depending on their schedule, if they decided they wanted to go, it really, you know, there's not like a perfect, you know, season, or they can only go between November and March. This is year-round.
Year-round destination.
That's
January
right
through April is known more of like the hotter season. So with that though, the snorkeling, the water temperature is a little bit warmer, and you might get a little bit more rain during that season, but you're only going to really notice that when you go to the highlands. And if you're walking around see the giant tortoises. The area that you're visiting, they'll provide boots to wear. You can walk through if it happens to be muddy. But it's a great destination year round. There isn't a bad time to visit. The water temperature is a little cooler in the fall because of the Humboldt Current, but we have the wetsuits on board throughout the voyage.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. Well, listen, I don't have any more questions, but I would like to say thank you so much from RLX Travel Group to Silversea, specifically you, for helping us learn more about the Galapagos Islands. I hope we get to do another destination dive soon. And to all of our viewers, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.
Bye.